A few weeks later, he asked her out on a proper date. Busy eagerly accepted. She was so excited. She felt like she had finally earned the affection of her longtime crush. Femi and Busy began a passionate relationship, staying connected through flirty text messages and late-night video calls whenever she was away at school. Femi would send Busy luxury gifts that made her friends grin with envy. Once upon a time, in a bustling city of Mikendo, there lived a beautiful young girl named Busy. She had smooth dark skin, a slender frame, and a warm smile that lit up any room she entered. Busy's parents were both high school teachers who doted on their only child. They ensured she lacked nothing while growing up. This nurturing environment allowed Busy's intelligence and confident spirit to flourish from a young age. By the time Busy entered secondary school, she was known as one of the most studious and popular girls around. Not only did she excel academically, but everyone seemed naturally drawn to her vibrancy. Busy breezed through her studies and graduated top of her high school class. She gained admission to study law at one of the country's most prestigious universities on a full scholarship. Her parents were incredibly proud. While home on breaks during university, Busy would often catch the eyes of young men in the neighborhood. But she never paid them much attention, too focused on her goals. There was one guy that caught Busy's eye in their neighborhood, Femi. He was tall and athletic, with a swagger that exuded confidence. Even though he had a bit of a reputation as a playboy, Busy felt herself oddly intrigued by him. Busy quickly became friends with Kemi, Femi's younger sister, in order to get closer to him. She would sometimes help out around Femi's family house when visiting Kemi, cleaning or cooking a meal. Busy hoped this would get his attention, but spoiled Femi barely noticed her presence. One day, Busy gathered courage and complimented Femi on his new haircut. To her surprise, he flashed her a dazzling smile and struck up a conversation. The childhood friends quickly fell into an easy banter. After that afternoon, Femi started flirting with Busy whenever she came over. A few weeks later, he asked her out on a proper date. Busy eagerly accepted. She was so excited. She felt like she had finally earned the affection of her longtime crush. Femi and Busy began a passionate relationship, staying connected through flirty text messages and late-night video calls whenever she was away at school. Femi would send Busy luxury gifts that made her friends grin with envy. For the first time in ages, Busy felt seen. During one extended school break, Femi invited Busy out on a romantic dinner at an expensive restaurant. One day Busy arrived at his family's large house to visit him. She noticed his bedroom door was closed. She knocked gently and called his name. The door swung open just wide enough for Busy to glimpse a figure scrambling in the shadows behind Femi before he quickly shut it again. Busy stood stunned as realization set in. Her darling Femi had another woman over. Before she could react further, Femi's mother appeared and ushered the shaken Busy into the sitting room for tea, explaining Femi had an unexpected guest. 20 minutes later, a young woman dressed half-naked left Femi's room and left without making eye contact. When Busy confronted her boyfriend, Femi laughed it off as no big deal, just an old friend stopping by. After a heated argument, he managed to persuade Busy to forgive his harmless mistake. She reluctantly agreed, wanting so badly to trust in their love despite the warning signs. Busy's parents, however, were angry when they caught wind of Femi's infidelity. They demanded she end things for good. But Busy ignored their pleas, convinced she could change Femi's adulterous and unruly ways by simply loving him harder. Over the next couple years of university, Busy spent every free moment with Femi, tending to his every need whenever she was home. She took over household responsibilities and showered him with affection. Meanwhile, Femi partied every night and flirted shamelessly with other women. Whenever Busy raised concerns, he called her paranoid and insecure. She started doubting herself, wondering if she was overreacting. So Busy stuffed down her discomfort and resolved to prove her loyalty. The day after her big law school graduation, Femi proposed to Busy, presenting a massive diamond ring. Busy joyfully accepted, believing this gesture meant Femi was finally ready to commit to her fully. They wed in an extravagant ceremony some months later. Although Busy's parents were not happy but had to support her decision, she felt married life would bring her the security she craved with Femi. But the honeymoon phase quickly faded once the newlyweds settled into their new home. Femi stayed out even later, now stumbling in drunk, smelling of cheap perfume almost every night. Even when confronted by Busy, he no longer bothered making excuses for his behavior. Over the years, Femi banned Busy from doing things that make her happy. He cut her off from friends and family. He made her quit her sales job because he didn't approve of her boss. Eventually, Femi drained Busy's once vibrant spirit almost beyond recognition. Trapped in an increasingly abusive relationship, he would beat her after every argument and beg her that it wouldn't repeat itself. The rare times Busy reported all to her mother-in-law to seek comfort from her, the old woman just shook her head sympathetically. "This is just how men are, his father was like that too and we are still together, my dear," she would sigh. "But he would always comes home to you." Then one day, as Busy cheerfully prepared breakfast, thinking about the recent happenings and way forward, she noticed Femi's phone buzzing with messages. When he didn't stir, she decided to take it to him so it wouldn't disturb his rest. But what Busy saw on that screen changed everything. There was photo evidence of him talking to different women he had slept with and how he has impregnated many and aborted them. Her shock quickly turned to rage and heartbreak as she realized the extent of his betrayal. Busy flung the door open, ripping the blanket off the sleeping Femi as she held his buzzing phone in front of his face. He jolted awake and peered at the screen, then laughed softly. "Well, you were bound to find out eventually," he shrugged, not even attempting to explain away this ultimate violation of their marriage vows. He just casually insisted, "Get used to this. Busy has been trying to get pregnant over the years but nothing is forthcoming. Her husband's family would call her barren and threaten to marry another wife for their son." Few years later, God answered her prayers and gifted her a gift of the womb. They were both happy but none of their joy lasted because Femi often beat Busy anytime he is drunk. He would beat her till she lost the baby and would beg her and shower her with gifts. This happened for many years and Busy was always in and out of the hospital. But she still didn't leave the marriage because she hopes Femi could still change and love her more, but everything dawned on her when she couldn't conceive. She visited her family doctor and was told that her womb was damaged and can only give birth with the grace of God. Busy cried and cried. She regretted not dating other guys who doted on her then and only clung to Femi. Femi and his family found out and said, "My son can't marry a barren woman. Who is going to carry on with the family name?" Something finally broke open inside her then, some mental chain that had blinded Busy to her own worth for too long. Enough is enough. Busy got divorced and moved to another city soon after, needing distance to process the damage from years wasted chasing the affection of someone incapable of loving her back. She channeled her grief into reigniting her passion for fashion design. It took time to rebuild her life, but now Busy runs a thriving clothing business on her terms. And she hopes to meet someone better and willing to love and care for her.
I hope you enjoyed the story. If so, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to turn on the notification bell for more stories like this one. Goodbye.